So the Orlando Magic have the #1 pick in the 2022 NBA draft. Obviously, this is a big deal. They haven't had the #1 pick in over a decade, and just in general, it's the #1 pick. Lots of speculation about who they will select with it. This has led me to make this video where I'll be predicting who I think the Magic will select. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing 3 prospects that I think they could potentially take. Then at the end of the video, I'm going to come to a conclusion on who I think the Magic will and who they should select. But before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want us to go to 3,000 subscribers, also drop a comment on this video. I do respond to all of my comments. And play that intro. The first prospect I think the Orlando Magic might take with the #1 overall pick is Jabari Smith. He went to the University of Auburn. Smith is a 6'10" power forward who could do a bit of everything. He's very versatile. Let's talk about the positives in his game. He's an elite 3-point shooter. At his height, he could shoot over anyone. He's one of the best pull-up shooters in college basketball. He also shot 44% from 3-on-5 attempts, so he's kind of like a safe pick because even if he doesn't pan out the way you want him to, he's still going to be a good stretch 4. But that's not all he could do. He's a very good defender, a versatile defender, especially with his height. He could guard some point guards, a lot of forwards, and occasionally even switch on the big centers. Definitely has to gain a little bit more strength if he wants to battle with the real centers, but he definitely could guard most of the centers in the league who aren't a threat. And he's just a guy who could switch, which is something you definitely need in today's NBA. He's a guy who plays with a lot of energy, never gives up on any plays, which is a positive sign. Because when you look in the NBA right now, a lot of guys take breaks on the court. You're not going to be getting that out of Jabari. He's also a quality free throw shooter, which is a positive sign because everyone knows if a guy can shoot free throws, it's a sign that he'll be able to be a good shooter going into the future. He's also an elite athlete who's capable of capturing lobs and attacking in transition. Talk about some of his weaknesses. He seems like an average rebounder for his position. Occasionally he gives up offensive rebounds. He also definitely has to put on a little bit more strength because he could easily get moved out by a lot of the bigger centers in the league. If he really wants to become an elite defender, he has to put on some size. His passing is average at best, and his ball handling skills are like solid for his height, but he's not going to be a guy who has to isolate one-on-one. He struggles to get to the basket on his own. So basically right now, he is not a guy who looks like he's going to be a shot creator into the future. But Jabari is still definitely an intriguing prospect. He's a guy who might not have the highest ceiling, but it doesn't mean he doesn't have like as much potential as some of the other prospects, but he has a really safe floor. As a stretch big man who could defend at a high and versatile level, definitely would not be a bad pick for Orlando. I think would be a safe pick that could turn out well in the future. The next prospect I want to discuss that the Orlando Magic could potentially select is Paolo Banchero, who went to the University of Duke. He's a prospect who has kind of some warning signs around his name, but he's definitely one of the guys with the most potential. I think he has the highest potential in my opinion. His ability to do everything. To talk about his strengths, he's a 6'10" forward who could basically do everything on the offensive side of the floor. He's already very strong. You don't have to worry about that, which is something you have to worry about with some other prospects. He's a really good athlete. He can score on all 3 levels. His 3-point shot has improved tremendously. He's a guy who could create his own shot, especially in difficult situations. He's a guy who can attack defenses, isolate one-on-one. He's a guy who's really efficient. He's a guy who's not a shot chucker or inconsistent. He has really good shot selection. He doesn't force up shots. And the most underrated thing about his game is the fact that he's actually a really good passer. I'm not saying he's going to be Ben Simmons or something, but definitely an above average passer who can see over the defense and make the right plays. Just has a really nice feel for the game. He's also a very good rebounder, and on defense he's very versatile. He can guard a lot of positions. Occasionally he can show you stints of how good of a defender he could really be, but I would say he has to like try more on defense. He doesn't give enough effort on that side of the floor, but I wouldn't call it a weakness of his. But to talk about his weaknesses, if we're being honest, there's not a crazy amount, but a weakness might be his three-point shot, because even though it's really improved, I wouldn't call it a strength for him right now, but it does look like in the future he can improve on that. He also needs to cut down on the turnovers. He gets way too much for a guy who's not even the main ball handler on his team. And obviously there's some questions about his health. If we all heard about he was losing 7 pounds a game or something like that. I don't know if that's been resolved or not. I generally tried to look into it. I didn't see any recent news about it, so I don't think it's that big of a deal anymore. I think he probably fixed that problem. But all I'm saying is, if that's a legit issue that teams are looking into, that can really ruin his draft stock. But in my opinion, as I said, I think this guy's the best prospect, and I think the only problem with him is him losing weight and stuff. I definitely think this is a great pick for the Magic if they were to select him. The next prospect I want to discuss that the Orlando Magic could potentially select is Chet Homgren. In my opinion, Chet is a guy with a crazy amount of potential. He does have a lot of fears when it comes to him. He has high bust potential in my opinion. There's so much questions about him, but to discuss his strength and reasons for even be considered at the #1 pick, Chet is a 7'1" big man with tremendous skill for his size. He's a guy who has enough skill to grab a rebound and take it all the way up the court, coast to coast for a layup or dunk. He's a really good defender as well, really good rim protector. He's tall and mobile. He can affect and block a lot of shots at the rim. In college, at least, he was an elite rim protector. We don't know how that's going to be in the NBA, but that still is a really good sign. He's also not just a tall guy who could defend. He's one of the best shooters in the whole class. He's a guy who could do lots of picks and pops, and he can hit contested threes, and his favorite shots are from the mid-range area. He shot 40% from three. Nearly, he shot 39%, capable of taking opponents off the dribble. His signature move is attacking defenders who close out to him too aggressively and attacking the rim with just one dribble and getting an easy dunk. He's also a versatile defender who's very fast laterally and should be able to defend 1 through 5. He's also a solid passer at the post, can make a lot of fancy passes. Chet can do a lot of things at his size that most guys shouldn't be able to do, and that's why I think he has top 3 potential in this draft class. The only problem is his weaknesses that are kind of glaring. The biggest one is definitely his weight and his strength. He's 7'1" and he's not even 200 pounds yet. In the NBA, he might get abused by even average centers in the league, because despite how long this guy is, someone just puts a shoulder into him, he's gonna go flying. He kind of alter how good he is protecting the rim, because if guys could just constantly body him and put him at unorthodox positions where he can't block the shot, it's gonna make him way less effective as a rim protector. He's also a guy who's gonna get in a lot of foul trouble. He's always going for blocks, but regardless, if Chet can reach the potential he has, he could be as good as anyone in this draft class. It's just that, in my opinion at least, there's a lot of questions, especially with his weight, and we've seen a lot of skinny guys like him in the past with Kristaps Porzingis, Bol, and some others. And Kristaps hasn't been a bad player, but he's definitely been disappointing from what we were expecting him to be. But regardless, if Chet can reach his potential, he could be really good. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't think it would be a terrible pick by the Magic. To drop a prediction on who I think the Magic will select with the #1 pick, I think I have to go with Paolo Banchero, because to me at least it's clear he's the best prospect in the draft right now, and I honestly don't think it's that close. He's a prospect who I think is a guy who actually will reach his full potential the most out of anyone in the class. And although we asked the question about his weight loss thing, as I said, I haven't heard too much. If it's still a problem, can someone let me know? But if that's not holding back his draft stock, I don't see why the Magic wouldn't select him. But if the weight loss thing is a problem, I think they will select Jabari Smith. I'm pretty confident that Paolo's gonna get selected first. This guy is just crazy, and I genuinely think he is a generational talent. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know who you think the Magic will select #1 overall. Drop a like on this video, that will my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want to go of 3,000 subscribers, also drop a comment on this video. I do respond to all of my comments, and play that intro.